Right, looks like the stream died. But it should be back now. Okay. Most annoying thing with the stream dying is that when I save this out to YouTube, it will actually show up as several videos, so it's going to be in several parts. Like every crash is going to be like a new part. So, you know, otherwise I would have to merge them manually. Manual work, it's the worst. So does anyone have any ideas for what this thing needs? Like, what kind of gadgets and stuff does it need? I don't know what keys I use the most frequently, because, you know, well, actually that would be very interesting to see. Maybe I should record that for myself, just so it would be kind of interesting for optimization purposes for myself. But my key bindings, they are, you know, quite a few. It's like, I don't know, a bunch of 100 scripts shot or keys. So I don't think it will really help anyone to look at them, because it's just like a whole bunch of things. Water cooling things. It has some, actually has a camera here, or it doesn't look like a camera yet. It's supposed to be. I don't have a programmable keyboard, but I have a programmable mouse with 20 buttons. So all the buttons are actually running. Well, actually, it's complicated. So I'm running 20 extra shortcuts on the mouse, but I also have extra modifier keys in Modo that also you know, override those hotkeys on the mouse. So I have like probably like, I don't know, maybe 100 things mapped just to the mouse, at least. So there's a lot of hotkeys and a lot of custom macros if I find that I'm doing something quite often, like repeatedly, you know, for example, I copy paste something. Yeah, so you often do a copy and paste. So then I just merge it into one command for copy paste. For example, sometimes, like a lot of the time, I select something, I copy it, I paste it, and then I move it somewhere. So then I can just make a simple command that is like, if I select one polygon and run the command, it actually selects the entire object, copy pastes it, and then moves it to wherever I had the cursor, for example. I'm using the Logitech G600, I think it's called. It's like an MMO mouse. I don't really do any scripting now, because I'm just not very, you know, I haven't bothered to look closer at, you know, proper scripting. I can do very basic stuff. That's pretty much all I've been, you know, bothered to do, because even though there's like complex stuff that I wish I could do, I think that I'm personally still, you know, optimizing a lot of the basic stuff in the workflow, because I'm not nearly as fast as I could be. They are actually rebinds, but I'm putting them on really obscure keys, because, you know, you can turn them into a combination of keys. So like, for example, like I put one mouse button as like some weird combo, like the base is like alt apostrophe or whatever, or some weird key that you like never use, because there's like a ton of weird keys that you never use. I also like, I don't really put many hotkeys on the buttons that are not close to my hand, so I try to keep it very close to my hand, like StarCraft style, so I don't have to actually move my hands at all when I'm modeling. So they can just stay in one position, because I need to constantly use the Control Alt and Shift keys. Right, more coffee. More cables. I'm not managing layers at all while I'm working. For example, in this case, I have set it up properly, you know, when I was doing the like mock-up animation to test the movement and everything. And then I'm just modeling, I'm just creating layers as I go, and then I merge them later. I just select all the pieces that should belong in a layer, and then just merge them into that layer. It's pretty fast anyway, so it only takes a couple of, no, not even a minute of cleanup. So. Hey Warren. Well, a lot of the shapes are actually very primitive. If you look at this, you know, this is actually can be baked down to not that many polygons. A lot of these shapes can actually be baked down to very simple geometric shapes. You actually have, you know, very angular parts here. Polygon there, polygon there, polygon there, whatever. So the annoying parts is going to be, you know, stuff like this, because I'm like, haha, I screwed myself over by doing this. But it's okay, I'll suffer for that later. Then also, like, I quite often end up filling in a lot of gaps, because I end up with a model that is not gonna bake down very well sometimes, and I cheat by redesigning certain elements so that I can bake them down easier. So I do that like all the time. Sometimes I don't use any references at all. In this case I looked a bit, little bit on tanks, but not that much, to be honest, because I have already looked at so many references. I kind of have them in my head. But like, it's not always that I actively look at references when building something, but on the other hand, I always look at references whenever I come across them, so I come prepared. And quite often it's like I build something because I have seen something that inspires me to build a machine like that, so sometimes the references come before the idea. As principal artist, I just get to do cool art instead, pretty much. I wanted to do more art. Less meetings, more art, so now I can model. on some cool stuff instead. Snapping. Who needs that? I only use snapping when I'm doing things like modular environment stuff. Stuff that actually needs to fit on a grid. Otherwise, I basically don't use any snapping. Except when building low quality. No new gum roads, unfortunately. Not yet. I really want to make some more. Didn't have time yet. Hopefully can do some pretty soon. I do have some other tutorials though that will come eventually. Not on Gumroad specifically, but hopefully I can make some in a few months. I want to do some on environments. Thanks. And yes, you can share some art, I suppose. Let's see why not. Okay, I'm not gonna spend too much time on the inside. It's a bit ridiculous. That's not for me to say. No, clipping. Tricky. Hide these. Exactly. I did not pre-order Doom because I get it for free, but I'm getting it. No, I didn't have any problems with the custom configs actually, or not between 9 and 8 specifically. I do, my custom config is pretty light though. I keep most of my things in like a separate file, like a separate hotkey file, for example, that everything gets loaded in from. Just gonna do some sub-D for a change. Yeah, it's, I wouldn't call it rigged, I mean that makes it sound way too fancy. It's just basic parenting of things. I mean, for simple mechanical objects, rigging mode is fine. You can just do some quick IK rigs and stuff. But that kind of thing is, you know, really simple and it takes a couple of minutes. For robotic arms and so on, it's not a problem to just rig it inside Modo. Good, because then you can just like import it straight into Unreal or Sketchfab or whatever. What do you mean with no LUT? It should be just the sRGB by default, I guess. Haha, no. I'm keeping him busy though. We have rigged some pretty fucking cool stuff. Yeah, it'll be a long time before we can tell anyone about that. But it's pretty fucking cool. I always use multiple monitor, otherwise I can't check Facebook while I'm working. Actually, I don't really use my second monitor all that much, except when I'm unwrapping and texturing and stuff, or using Unreal or Editor or whatever. But I don't use it that much when I'm modeling, actually. Alright, I have a bunch of other stuff there as well, like preset browser and stuff. There's nothing I really use all the time. I don't really use any interface other than the main window, really. I don't touch the buttons in the interface very often either, to be honest. If I have to touch any buttons, it means I haven't hotkeyed enough. The customized weight mapping? You mean like skinning? Like it's... Otherwise I'm not quite sure what you mean. Oh, it means having smoothing groups. For smoothing groups, I just have a one-click solution that gives me the optimal result. So. I mean, basically what you want is that you don't have any unnecessary smoothing groups really, because if you have a good baking solution, then the normal map is gonna come out perfectly synced anyway, so you don't need to do it for artifact reasons. Then you should just, everything you do should be to set one smoothing group per UV island, which I have a script for. I got from a colleague, and I just run that, and then I just use the custom vertex normals, which is also just a one click. So that's it really. Well, to be fair, in that tutorial I actually go through the entire thing, because there's nothing more to what I'm doing generally than that. It's just that I'm well, it's pretty much all there is to it. I use very few nodes. I'm not really doing anything complex in any of my models. So stuff, for example, the this transport is just, you know, it's just an occlusion with a noise on it, and a texture as a mask, and that's really enough for doing that kind of stuff. I mainly use it not, you know, for texturing anything, you know, so they look final. It's just so that my high poly renders don't look so boring. It's not always I reuse it for the low poly actually. More Pepsi. This is the first time in a very long time that I'm actually not starting from scratch with the model, so I have no sense of how fast I'm actually going, because normally I finish the model in one sitting. No, I have no idea. I don't know actually. I think so. Or if they're black. I don't really pay attention to the background all that much. I went to a school for it, but I am self-taught because this was before there was any good schools really, so they didn't actually teach me anything useful. So I'm more or less self-taught. Hard to say how long I was doing 3D. I would say 2.5 years after I first started playing around with it properly, before I got my first job. Which was, you know, pretty lucky, because I was pretty shit back then. And thanks a lot for the compliments. Well, I was playing around with it for like maybe a bit less than a year, like daily, and then I started like this school, and then I just started doing 3D all the time, and after that, like 1.5 years after that, I had a job. That's massive. Hello. Okay, let's see if Moto will kill me from this boolean. Ha! Fuck team geometry. That was pretty much more like, I wouldn't say 20 to 40 hours. That's probably more than that. Since I was a student, it was more like, I don't know, 20 to 80 hours mixed with partying. I don't know. I don't really remember how much 3 I did, but I did a lot. The cockpit is coming along. It's not quite done, but it's getting there. After I'm finished with this robot, I'm gonna probably start working on that more and live streaming it a little bit, I think. Just to force myself to finish the whole thing, so I can move on to the next thing that I haven't finished. GC was pretty awesome. I have this weird bug in Modo that sometimes the hotkey for converting my selection to edges just stops working. It's super annoying. Like, it's like Alt 2, but it doesn't work actually. I have to click the interface, and nothing makes me more sad than clicking in the interface. I read that as medieval town lingo, and I'm like, okay, it's my English accent so ancient. Yeah, I'm still gonna finish that after I finish this, and then after I finish the cockpit. So like in 2024 or something. Now hopefully I'll get back to that in a few months. Yeah, the thing is that it works going from polygons to edge normally. It's just sometimes Modo just goes like, fuck it, I don't wanna, and then it doesn't work. And then later it starts working again without me noticing when or why it happened, so I have no idea. But it's really annoying. I don't work in Substance for my personal stuff. Up until recently, it's all been Photoshop. The I was gonna say the Sci-Fi Corridor, but you know, the latest Sci-Fi Corridor was in Quixel, and the cockpit is also in Quixel. So. But before that, it was all Photoshop, like some kind of a beast. do now? Danes. No, I don't think there are actually. But now it's like super embarrassing if I forgot someone, but I don't think there are. We are actually looking for people at Machine Games. We have a couple of positions to fill. We are looking for one environment artist actually. There's an application form on the website if anyone's interested. You can also shoot me a message on Facebook or an email or whatever. I can pass it on. Maybe not the amount of stitches, but I've had some pretty annoying precision work on some it's called advertising stuff once, and also some movie stuff that was pretty annoying. Yeah, we're using idtech. It's our in-house engine. We are, developing the engine together with id. I'm actually not like a seasoned Max user. I used Max a bit, like not enough to be a seasoned user. I did not like Max at all, to be honest. So I'm not the best person to ask. I just find Modo more intuitive for me. When I started using Modo, it was like, it just took like a week, and then I was faster in Modo than the programs that I used before. Well, Doom is the first game with our engine that is using PBR. Wolfenstein was not PBR. And yeah, we're not using a metalness workflow. Because it's not so accurate. To place the bolts, I'm using a script by Seneca called oh god, what it's called? Wait, I have to check just because I don't remember. Rotate to or unrotate. You can download like all his scripts from. Yeah, you can just Google for Seneca's scripts. You will find them basically. There is a similar tool in Modo nowadays. They work pretty well. The tack tool, you can get it to work relatively similar. Okay, let's just... I'll put all of this, like this whole stream on YouTube later as well, so it will be there, my YouTube channel, in case someone missed something. I'm just working as I go. I don't have any references or concept. I mean, I have some basic references, but they don't look at all like what I'm doing, so they can't. Actually really unhappy with how this box looks. I don't know if I can be bothered to redesign it at this point, but decisions. I'll post renders of this model, you know, on all the usual places like, you know, Facebook and Instagram and the Sketchfab forums as well. Maybe I will upload the high poly model there as well in its current state. head is starting to give up, so I'm probably gonna wrap this up relatively soon before I just space out completely. Squeeze in some more last minute details. I'll probably do a stream next week as well. Continue working on this one. I try to do like one stream per week, most weeks. Because normally I don't actually use symmetry when I'm doing like loose elements like this. I don't use symmetry at all because instead of using symmetry, I use a mirrored instance instead, because then you only have half the data. You know, the file is smaller, it's faster to work with, it's just more efficient. But in this case, I have since the mockup was or like the blockout model was animated. I didn't use instances, I actually used like properly mirrored ones. But also because they're animated and I'm working with them sometimes in the animated position, I just don't want to do straight up mirroring all the time across the axis, because that might be wrong. So I'm just not caring about keeping the symmetry intact while I'm working now, so I'm just doing it afterwards instead, because the end result is going to be the same. So that's why. And for the people that sent me messages, I will answer them once I'm done streaming. Well, the symmetry is not destructive here either. It's just that I don't really need it right now, so. And you can break symmetry occasionally, so just don't. That almost looks like a thing. Alright, I think that's it's gotta be it for today. But thanks for everyone who was watching. And I'll post the stuff on Sketchfab and internet and so on. And I'll post the stream on YouTube, so it'll be there. Thanks for watching.